Coresight Research has estimated that the US live streaming market hit $20 billion last year. And then by 2026, it's going to more than triple to an estimated $68 billion in sales. And interestingly, 50% of millennials trust product recommendations from influencers. So it would seem that combining an influencer with a live shopping event that showcases your brand and product offerings would be a lucrative match. But it's not as easy as it sounds. How do you get started with live shopping influencers? What kind of events should you arrange? How do you measure ROI? That's what we're covering in today's episode of Partnership Unpacked. This is Partnership Unpacked, your go-to guide to growing your business through partnerships quickly. I'm your host, Mike Alton, and each episode unpacks the winning strategies and latest trends from influencer marketing to brand partnerships and ideas that you can apply to your own business to grow exponentially. And now, the rest of today's episode. Welcome back to Partnership Unpacked, where I selfishly use this time to pick the brains of experts at strategic partnerships, channel programs, affiliates, influencer marketing, and relationship building. Oh, and you get to learn too. Subscribe to learn how you can amplify your growth strategy with a solid takeaway every episode from partnership experts in the industry. Now listen, we all know how powerful video is for reaching and engaging new audiences, and we all know how effective influencer marketing can be for transferring trust. So it makes sense that integrating influencers into your video, specifically live shoppable video, should be a successful and lucrative tactic for businesses. But wait, how are we supposed to produce live shopping videos? And how do we find influencers who can handle this new medium? Is this really a good idea? That's exactly what our guest today, Geoffroy, is going to talk to us about. Geoff is the partner and chief operating officer at LiveScale, one of the top live shopping platforms in the world. LiveScale makes live streaming shopping possible for retailers and influencers, and it's used by big brands like L'Oreal and Lancôme. He's spent over 20 years in the digital ecosystem as an entrepreneur, innovation enthusiast, and a passionate voice for emerging technologies, and he's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to live shopping and the utilization of influencers, so you know I've got a ton of questions in mind. Geoff, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for the invitation. Glad to be here today.
Great to talk to you. Great to talk to you in my studio. I was a guest in your studio not too long ago. Thanks
Indeed.
Again for that. That was a lot of fun. Let's start by giving listeners some background on just what LiveScale is and the role that you play there.
Yeah, sure. So LiveScale, as you said, is a live shopping partner. So basically what we do and how we work with our client is that we provide the platform, the technology, and also all live shopping services around this to make our clients successful when it comes to them embracing this new industry and this new trend of that is live shopping. So we go from sitting down with our clients, defining what the strategy, live shopping strategy should be about to match really their marketing objective, their brand DNA, to bringing them some talents, influencers, producers as well, if they need that for some support as part of the live shopping execution. And we have the platform that allow them obviously to create these live shopping events directly on their website and easily share them through social media as well.
So LiveScale actually helps connect influencers with brands. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, correct. So actually, we have clients that come to us saying, okay, I know what I want to do when it comes to live shopping. Between you and I, that's a small percentage of clients today. Most of them really need some guidance because, and you said it as part of the introduction, live shopping is still new. So when you look at China, Asia, when you see this influencers doing like 14 hours of live streaming per day, so what I call non-stop live shopping, right? They sell products all the time. This is not what's happening in the rest of the world. So let's keep in mind that China, Asia is a very different landscape when it comes to live shopping than the rest of the world. What we've seen in the rest of the world when it comes to live shopping is really live shopping being handled by brands, retailers, media as well, media groups or publishers really are using live shopping as an awareness tool, engagement tool, and sales tools as well. And as part of this, so we have clients that again come to us saying, I know exactly what I want to do in terms of content. So what I need is your tech to execute this live shopping strategy. But again, that's a small percentage. Most of the clients today need some help and guidance when it comes to the content creation. So it goes from what should I do in terms of live shopping events? What should be the content? Who should be the host? Who should be the face? And to your point, Mike, it's indeed where we can help them. We have a pool of talents. So we like calling them talents because to go live, it requires specific skills. So for sure, when you look at influencers, you see many influencers being very successful on social media, TikTok, Instagram, and all the networks that exist. But doing live is very different from just posting a static picture. It's already a lot of work. Don't take me wrong here. Creating this community and this engagement building is already a massive work to be done here. But going live, again, it's something different. We all have this Janet Jackson moments in mind, right? So it's the fear of going live that all persons that are touching the live component have in mind. So yes, we are able to help our clients by bringing them some talents that come from social media, but also TV shopping channels like QVC, the Shopping Choice in Canada as well. So these persons have massive experience when it comes to live. They're able to obviously guide and be the voice of our client basically through these live shopping events. So yeah, bringing talents and also recommended what and who should be the hosts and the influencers that our clients can leverage on when it comes to their live shopping strategy.
Now, I always had trepidation about going live, but I never, ever pictured it as a Janet Jackson moment. So we'll just put that aside for the moment. But I appreciate you laying out that additional detail on how you're helping brands actually source influencers. Yeah. That's a big pain point for B2B brands in particular, because you're right. Going live is different from other forms of content creation, other forms of communication with an influencer's audience. Yeah. And you mentioned how different things are in China, in Asia. We've seen a little bit of that coming to the US with like Amazon shopping days and US influencers starting to go live almost all day long on Amazon. But how else would you say the live shopping industry has changed and evolved just over the past year or two?
Yeah, so I think two components here that makes live shopping evolve. Obviously, it's from one, the lens of the brand itself. So how willing is the brand to go live and what will be the frequency of the live? So when we look again through the lens of the brand, we see brands going live once a week, once every 2 weeks. Some of them will go live a bit more than that, but for sure we're far away from the 14 hours per day. So that's from a brand's perspective. And if we look through the lens of the audience, we can still see that in the rest of the world, when you go on social, basically you're there to be entertained. So you want to consume mostly short form video content. So you want to be amused, you want to spend good time here. So all this social commerce trend, basically, it's still early in the West. So we don't, and I include myself in it when I'm on social, I'm okay to discover new things. I'm okay to have fun, but I'm not really okay to buy. And again, if we take this parallel with Asia and China, the first thing a user will do when they register to WeChat, to Taobao, and all these different places, they will enter the credit card information. So it's transactional from the get-go. You register here. First thing you do is payment information. As you've done it on TikTok or Instagram, what you do is your email address, and then I switch directly to my interests, what I want to follow, fashion, beauty, music, all the interests that I have there. And from there, I'll build a community, I'll follow influencers that are of interest to me. But again, the landscape and the mindset is very different. And what we've seen evolve, so North America, Europe, so in the rest of the world, again, I always do this in differentiation between Asia and the rest of the world for the past years, is that we've seen a use of live shopping overall to evolve towards more and more understanding that creating a live shopping strategy, it's a long-term play. It's not like a one-off event. You can create events from time to time around specific days of the year as well. But for your live shopping strategy to be successful, you need to have a recurrency. You need to do it regularly. You need to create also and educate the audience. Again, to the point of the lens of the audience, they need to have the habit and they need to be used to seeing you going live and joining you for this kind of moment in order to start purchasing, in order to start engaging with you even more, so collecting even more data about this. So yeah, the past year, I would say we went from 2020, which is what we call year zero of live shopping, because this is really where it's been really popularized thanks to the pandemic. I mean, brands were looking at some options to keep selling. So from 2020 to now, we've seen again an evolution towards, yes, live shopping. It's not only about doing instant sales during the event, but again, creating this long and lasting relationship with the client and overall contributing to the ROI of all my marketing spend. So again, seeing live shopping as being a strong contributor to the overall marketing funnel and not only the bottom of the funnel to do just sales.
It's such a fascinating insight, particularly when you're talking about how the entire purpose, basically, of these Asian apps is different and their approach is different from the initial client onboarding. And for those of you listening, who may not be familiar with those apps, you may not have accounts there, you might think of it like your Roku, where when you're setting up a Roku at home, you put in your email and then you add your credit card. Even if you're not signing up for any Roku services at that particular moment, you give Roku your credit card. So when you do see, hey, there's a movie I want to rent or a TV show I want to download or a subscription service like HBO that I want to start, on your television, it's just a click of a button. You don't have to re-enter that credit card. It's automatically added. So it makes it a seamless, easy process for you, which means it's much more lucrative for the platform and the app provider.
And it's a go-to place for everything, basically. So you can order your taxi, you can buy your food, you can buy clothes, it's, again, a go-to place for, if we compare this with existing initiatives here, it would be some kind of Amazon without today the component of influencer. Even if Amazon launched Amazon Live as well, and they have this, it's not working as efficiently as Amazon would like it to work because it's really basically missing this brand implication as part of this show. So it's really basically Amazon representative selling product through live video. And they have this list of products that they're showing in front of the video camera. But as a viewer, you'll say, okay, what's the story behind this product? What's the story behind the brand? And the person basically hosting this kind of events, they don't know about it, or even they don't care about it. That's not really their job. They're here to basically show the products and that's it. So this is really, I would say, the old-fashioned way of selling products. Whereas when we see live shopping working efficiently on the long term, it's when the brand is really owning this initiative, bringing external influencers, bringing internal experts also about the brands, and all these elements combined makes a success. But yeah, to your point again, different habits and audiences between Asia and the rest of the world. We can see a maturity of the audience in the US, for example, going towards more and more transactional behaviors, but it will take time. We're not there yet.
Yeah, to your point, when you say old-fashioned, we're almost talking about like QVC or the Home Shopping Network. For those who remember those stations, I don't even know if they're still around anymore.
They are, and they're working great, actually. They are working great, and it's very complementary with digital live shopping, I would say, what LiveScale bring. And we have actually clients that are doing QVC and are doing LiveScale at the same time because they really see a complementarity between the two. QVC has such a big pool of audience to reach there, so that they have to be there and they will reach a specific category of audience. And with LiveScale, they will reach another part of the audience that is more digital based and digital focused. And with LiveScale, they're able also to collect direct data and direct feedback from the audience, which is not the case on TV, right? Once you're behind the screen, you purchase. So as a brand, I'll know what the sales I would have generated through QVC, but what did my audience say about this product during the show? Were they happy, not happy? Did they have specific questions, etc.? It's not that easy on TV, obviously, to get this direct feedback from the audience, whereas on digital, obviously, you have access to everything. So,
love it. I think we're going to come back to that point in just a second, but I want to ask you, because I know in your role, you've worked with both brands as partnerships and with individual influencers. And I'd love to know from your perspective, what differences have you noticed between brand partners and influencers as partners?
Yeah. So when it's a brand coming to us and when a brand wants to launch a live shopping strategy, again, it's directly supporting their own marketing initiative. So what we like saying is live shopping in that sense become an additional marketing channel as part of what they do. So you have paid media, you have organic, you have social, you have live shopping, and it has its own attribution model as well. So it has to fit within the attribution model because to what I was saying earlier about the fact that live shopping is a strong contributor to sales, it will generate sales during the sessions and it will contribute to sales long term as well. You really need to identify it as part of the marketing activities. So from a brand standpoint, again, it's complete other activities that they're doing, leveraging on existing initiatives that they have as well. You mentioned influencers. So when they're already using influencer marketing, how do I bring this influencer marketing piece as part of my live shopping strategy? These live shopping events are also hosted on the website. So it enriches the user experience overall. When a viewer, a user, a client will arrive on the website, they have access to the static products, so the usual product pages that are on the website. They also have now a chatbot. They can interact directly with the client support. And they also have a live shopping where I can join on specific session and have this intimate and authentic moment with the brand as well. So that's really how live shopping is being used by brands already, again, to be an additional channel as part of their existing marketing strategy. From an influencer perspective, so either they already link to the brand, so coming back to the brand model I was mentioning, they will work directly with the brand, and in that case, the brand will control all this. If the influencer is basically on its own and wants to do live shopping on its own, basically they want to use LiveScale to generate sales for brands, the concept will be a bit different. Obviously, they will leverage on an existing audience. So if they have a strong audience on TikTok, on Instagram, so they will create their live shopping event with LiveScale. They will insert the products of the brand they want to sell. So it could be one brand, multiple products from different brands as well. So they really have this flexibility here. And the model we see here usually is really affiliation. So affiliate marketing, so leveraging on live shopping to create more sales for the brands and the advertiser they're working with. But in that case, again, it's the influencer that is working on his own without, I would say, the brand in its ecosystem.
Love it. And what I'm hearing is that all the technical challenges that I kind of alluded to at the beginning, LiveScale is taking care of all that. You're embedding the live stream in your website, you've got the chat, you've got all that stuff that's happening so that me as the producer, the brand, I don't have to think about that too much.
Correct.
And I love how you mentioned that it's creating an experience for the consumer. That's something that Lee Oden in a previous conversation and we were talking about from the influencer's perspective, creating a wonderful experience for them. Now here we're talking about creating an experience with influencers for the consumers because it's that experiences that impact people and that makes it a lot easier for them to open their wallet. But now that we've talked about the technical bit a little bit, what I want to ask you is when it comes to working with influencers, how do brands actually get started? How do we reach out to these influencers and actually bring them on board and get them to represent our brands?
Yeah. So, I mean, different ways. And so if we take a brand, for example, that already has a strong influencer marketing strategy. So if they want to bring these influencers as part of their live shopping strategy. So first of all, obviously, as I said earlier, not every influencer is able and has the skills basically to go live. So that will be, I would say, a first selection to be done among the influencer. So if they already have this relationship, it's just basically taking them to the next level of this relationship. And all the influencers that are working with our existing clients when they are brands, it's always a great moment to have. As you said, it's bring even more to the relationship that brands already have with influencers because of this authenticity factor. When you're live, you can't cheat, right? You can't do multiple videos, pre-record multiple videos and redo this. No, you're live, so it's a one shot here. And at the end, it's beneficial for both the brands and the influencers. And for a brand basically that want to start a partnership and a relationship and building basically this relationship with influencers, obviously, there's many influencers on social media. And that's also why at LiveScale, we've done this selection of talent specifically for live shopping, because if you go out and start looking for influencers, obviously, you have lots of great influencer marketing tools to filter and to look at specific profiles depending on your industry, depending on the audience that you want to reach here. So the first strategy will be to start using one of these platforms to already start doing the first filtering when it comes to the type of profiles here, the audience you're looking at. Once you have this first selection, if you really want to do live shopping with these influencers, my recommendation will be obviously to discuss with LiveScale or another partner in this ecosystem here to validate the skills, the live skills of this person here. There's also trainings that exist, because if you find the right influencer and you really want to work with this influencer, and this influencer is really willing to learn and go live as well and become the next live seller, you also have options to train these influencers in becoming the live sellers. But again, the starting point is not all the influencers can be live sellers. And even within the live sellers, we'd see different categories. You might have heard of key opinion leaders, key opinion sellers, etc. These are different personalities in terms of live sellers that we see in the industry as well. So it's also come down to the concept of the event you want to do. If you want to do a live shopping that is purely sales oriented, so you want to sell, and only sell, for sure, it will be a different typology of influencer. Whereas if you want to bring eyeballs, awareness, a lot of visibility to your events, you will be targeting a different typology of influencers as well. So those we call key opinion leaders that will be more like leading the hosting of your event, doing the promotion, bringing really the audience and generating all this crazy engagement during your lives as well.
It's terrific advice. And for those of you who want an even deeper dive into how brands can select influencers, listen to our previous episode with Leoden. We were talking mostly about B2B influencers, but a lot of the principles that he was sharing in that episode were the same. Now, Geoff, obviously one of the clear benefits of live shopping, and you kind of touched on this already, is that because it's a digital medium, we can track the revenue and the sales, and we can see that ROI. But how else can brands measure the ROI from these kinds of influencer activities?
Well, this is, again, live shopping ROI shouldn't be only measured during the live event itself. That's what we tend to see a lot at the very beginning of live shopping, is like how much sales I'm going to generate in one live. And again, it all comes down to what we see in Asia. For sure, we needed to have a reference at the beginning. So we rely on what existed at that time in terms of live shopping, and that was in China and Asia. Now that there's more activation, obviously, in the rest of the world, in the US, in Europe, and other countries, we see more and more the ROI being measured more long-term. So an influencer ROI, you will measure it over time. So for sure, the same as we were discussing about the typologies and personalities of influencers. Select an influencer, first of all, that will make sense for your brand, obviously, but also build this mid-term, long-term collaboration with this influencer. If we take an example of a live shopping strategy, you will have, and we like at LiveScale talking about a TV series. So your live shopping strategy will be season 1, and within this season 1, you'll have multiple episodes. And these episodes will bring these influencers that you will have signed a partnership with. So this influencer, you know that, for example, if it's a key opinion leader, so again, the one bringing the eyeballs and the awareness, you know that you can use this influencer like every 2 or 3 episodes. This way, you know that you're going to feed the top of your marketing funnel with new eyeballs and a new audience there. And you mix this concept of events with other events that will be more towards converting this client. So if you're like a beauty brand and you have really strong experts within your product team that know the product by heart and they are able to share all the benefits of the products, then you will use this host, so not an influencer in that case, but an internal resource that is able to be your live seller, to mix this with, again, influencers there. So again, ROI to measure influencers' efficiency, especially during live shopping, should not only be measured during a one live. So even if you do one live with one influencer, you will look at the following days, obviously, to see what and how live shopping contributing to generating your sales 24, 48, 72 hours after the live. So already seeing this. And again, the advice is really to use these influencers for several episodes in order to build this long-term relationship with the influencer himself, but also obviously with the audience.
Folks, go back and re-listen to the last 3 or 4 minutes, because Geoff wasn't just sharing how to measure ROI. He was laying out this masterclass of how to build this omni-channel threaded influencer marketing campaign that's going to establish thought leadership and drive actual results. It's fantastic. Re-listen to that. Now, let's take a moment to hear how to measure ROI from another channel, social media.
It's the Arc de Triomphe. Can you imagine if you're in charge, if you're the CMO of Marketing Paris? What are your main channels? Wow, there's the Arc de Triomphe. There's the Eiffel Tower. There's the Louvre. Those are your channels you're going to use to drive tourism dollars in. Okay, now, but you're not the CMO of Paris. In fact, you're the CMO of your company, product, service. So what are your main channels? So I'm going to guess there are things like pay-per-click, maybe trade shows, events, maybe content. Those are all pretty predictable, right? Let me ask you this question. Are you treating social media as a main channel? By the way, only 1.8% of you today measure social media and can prove an ROI in that investment. HubSpot and Gartner say social media is the #1 channel to invest in this year. Are you doing it? If not, I can tell you why. You're not doing it because you don't have the tools, you don't have the mentality, and that's okay. We've got you covered. You change the mentality, we'll give you the tools. WordPulse tracks all the ROI for you. One place to manage all your social media activity, your #1 channel. Change your success. Treat social media as a channel, one CMO to another. My name is Daryl. I'm with Agorapulse. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Geoff, this is so interesting. Can you share just like 2 or 3 examples of some of the influencer marketing initiatives that you've seen from brands recently that kind of grabbed your attention? And what was it that interested you?
Sure. So I'll start with the celebrity. So the influencer celebrity, Jennifer Garner. So we're lucky to have been working with Jennifer Garner and her team at Once Upon a Farm. So it's a great example. So Jennifer Garner was actually the host of her first Once Upon a Farm event. And so you know Jennifer Garner, you know the following she can have on social media. And the interesting point is that she did not use Instagram to go live. She really used LiveScale on the website to really drive this awareness of live shopping and create this event. So that's a good example of even a celebrity that has a strong community will not use social media to go live. They really want to go live on the brand property, on the brand website, using a platform that can allow her to do so. And that was, I think, an amazing event. And we saw other examples of that, a celebrity, again, relying on their team and their brand to really host the live on the brand website rather than on social, and really leverage on social more to do the promotion and the activation part. So that will be my first event. And Jennifer, if you're listening to that, thanks again. Amazing experience.
It was great. I watched it live, and I recall thinking that their in-studio production seemed to be pretty minimal. They were in a kitchen. I think they had like maybe 2 different camera angles, so 2 different cameras set up, and that was it. It wasn't that elaborate.
Yeah, she co-hosted it with one of her partner within the company. So the product, for those who are not familiar with Once Upon a Farm, it's baby food basically. So it's a very specific, very niche product, but it also show the diversity what live shopping is bringing and touching in terms of industry and products. So that's again a great example here.
Yeah, and just to give folks listening just a little added color, what Jennifer and her co-host did was they sampled the baby food products, and they were some pretty crazy. I don't remember the flavors, but it's not like apricots or anything like that. It's different. So they were
all organic
and showing what they thought.
Yeah, and all organic products. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
very cool. Now, on the other hand, we all know we've had influencer marketing campaigns that can go wrong, right? What's the worst maybe that you've seen, and what could the brand have done differently?
Yeah, well, at LiveScale, we tend to see that among our clients, never something goes wrong. It's more about getting learnings of how you can improve. So again, it's a different way of seeing things. But what we've seen, though, is this client that absolutely wanted a big celebrity. It's not Jennifer Garner. I've just talked about her, so that's not who I'm talking about. So another client wanted to use a big celebrity, and we told them, don't use the celebrity. We don't think it's a good match for what you're trying to achieve there, because that concept was really about telling the story of the brand, and they were presenting actually a new collection of products. And we recommended them not to use this celebrity because there wouldn't be a good match from our point of view. And they still use this celebrity. So for sure, they got massive audiences, but that's not the KPIs they've set up in terms of success for the events. They were looking at a lot of engagement, a lot of on LiveScale, you have lots of features like polls in order to generate data. So that's also one of the benefits of live shopping. For sure, you can sell, but also collect additional data about this. So at the end, the clients was very, very disappointed by the event itself because it did not translate into a lot of engagement, a lot of the data they were about to collect from the audience, and even less sales. But for sure, the celebrity that chose was definitely not linked to the brand. So the celebrity didn't have any affinity. She was very popular, still popular though, but very popular at that time. So that's why what they wanted to work with them. But to your point and your question earlier about the choice of influencer, don't only choose influencers that are like trendy or you think have big audiences, etc. Obviously, your selection of influencers, especially for live shopping events, should go even deeper into that. So yeah, that will be the example of things that in between quotes went wrong, even if, again, lots of learnings. The brand kept doing live shopping events afterwards, but with different hosts, different concepts.
That is a fantastic example and a great lesson. I talk about something very similar that happened in the very, very early days of influencer marketing. We're going back over 100 years now, before there was such a thing as influencer marketing.
Yep.
Back then, the Conklin Pen Company in Toledo, Ohio, they wanted to promote their pen. And if it had been like every other company back then, they would have used a Major League Baseball player like Babe Ruth, who has nothing to do with pens, but he's just a celebrity at the time. And people thought, well, maybe if we tie it to Babe Ruth, they'll buy pens. But Conklin knew better. Conklin said, no, we want to use someone that everyday folks would pay attention to. So they tapped Mark Twain, and they had Mark Twain endorse their pens, who was a prolific author. Everybody in the country knew Mark Twain, and they could easily see him penning his thoughts. There's a pun there for you, with their pens. So that was fantastic. And what a great example, a brand that, should have listened to you and learned their lesson. I love that. Now I got to ask, and I ask this in every episode because I don't know what people are going to say, but I have an idea, and I just love listening to the different answers. How important is it for brands to develop relationships with influencers?
Between not important and very important, I would say important. So it's important to build a long-lasting relationship with influencers. After that, what we've tended to see for the past month and even years is what I hope is a new era of influencer marketing and even social media in general. So for me, we've entered, again, I hope it's going to continue like this, but a more authentic era when it comes to social media. So the relationship with influencers that you build makes even more sense to choose the right one and to establish really this long-term relationship. Because if you find an influencer that really matches your brand DNA, your brand objective expectation as well, if you find this influencer being very creative, very enthusiastic when it comes to joining you for your influencer marketing activities, whether it's live shopping or something else, yeah, you have to stick and you have to keep doing this. But yeah, to my point about entering this new social media era, as a social media user, and I'm addicted to social media, I'm addicted to digital in general, but I'm happy to see that, again, we're starting to enter this. And I think that the choice of influencers that as a user you follow and as a brand you will choose will make even more sense now and in the future, now that we're entering, again, this more authentic phase of social media. So less Photoshop images, less fake followers, fake account, etc. But again, more authenticity, more reality of the world as well. When you see apps like Be Real being used a lot by teenagers, Gen Z, and even Generation Alpha now, about posting what you do at this instant moment, I think we're heading in the right direction. So the choice of influencers, again, should be really linked to your brand DNA and what you want to do there, and also match what the users' expectations are evolving now in this social media space.
I couldn't agree more. We are absolutely going into a new era, exactly as you described. Authenticity is so much more important today than it was before, and it's going to continue to rise in importance, which means developing relationships with influencers who can be an authentic partner for the brand is invaluable. Geoff, that's fantastic. What final advice do you have for brands who want to leverage influencers to reach new audiences?
Yeah, I'll say, again, take time, do some test and learn as well. If we go back to like 10, 15 years ago when social media arrived and when I would say the influencer marketing subject started, that's what we did as well. So we picked and chose influencers and we tested different creatives. And at the end, you kept working with an influencer that made sense and where you saw some reach. We saw an evolution and the mindset when it comes to the ROI as well. We mentioned this earlier. At the beginning, it was all about reach. How many people can you reach? Then we realized that, yeah, but there's some fake followers. So maybe the reach is not the KPI I want to measure as part of my success. Then I want to see the click-through rate. Yeah, but the clicks, sometimes they're fake clicks as well. So I want to see the sales. So now I think we're at a point where when it comes to influencer marketing, we've reached and brands have reached a maturity where they know what they want to have when it comes to expectation from this. So again, set your expectation right when it comes to the choice of the influencer that you want to work with. Make sure, obviously, that this influencer matches your brand DNA, matches your audience expectation as well, and then build this relationship over the long term. Because again, short-term ROI exists also on influencer marketing, obviously, but it's more the midterm and long-term ROI that you will be looking at while working with influencers.
Such fantastic advice. Over and over again, you've been suggesting and imploring everybody listening to think long-term with your influencers. Love it. Can you tell folks where they can find you if they want to reach out, learn more about you or LiveScale?
Yeah, sure. So LiveScale, you can find us on livescale.tv. So we have a website. We're obviously on social media, so Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, even TikTok. So yeah, you can find us there for sure. Feel free to reach out. Myself, you can see my first name, last name on LinkedIn as well. So feel free to connect on LinkedIn and ask any question there. And yeah, looking forward to discussing with you more about influencer marketing and live shopping in general. Really happy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Geoffroy. And thank you everyone else for listening. That's all we've got for today, friends. But please follow us on Apple. Leave the podcast review. Let us know what you think. We always like to hear from you. Till next time. Thank you for listening to another episode of Partnership Unpacked, hosted by Mike Alton and powered by AgoraPulse, the #1 rated social media management solution, which you can learn more about at agorapulse.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on your favorite podcast player. Be sure to leave us a review. Your feedback is important to us. And if you want to be part of our audience during live broadcasts, take a look at our calendar at agorapulse.com/calendar.